evening to you, my lovely viewers, and welcome back to today's show. We will be discussing a very brief and important topic today, and that is the news coming from Tamale Teaching Hospital. I think most of you might have heard of it this already, but let's get into the details. So the CEO of Tamale Teaching Hospital has been sacked following an alleged negligence that led to the death of a patient at the hospital's emergency and accident ward. This sack was preceded by a surprise visit by the Minister for Health at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. And it was when the news of the death of the boy was circulating, so he went to witness it himself and see what really transpired. So when he went, he was surprised to find out that there were equipment that has been damaged in the hospital for up to 6 years now, and they are not repaired, and some other facilities were not in good shape. So I'd like us to watch the entire story to see what really transpired between him and then the hospital officials, and then we'll come back for a brief discussion.
You report it from the beginning. The CSA, these are very expensive. One of them is a 1.8 billion Ghana, and then they are not working.
You never use them, they didn't run testing.
There are issues of equipment that has been supplied to the facility that are not working at all. We'll look into all these matters. Looking through the issues of the equipment, MRI and CT scans, the breakdown and what have you, one of the possible solutions is to explore the PPP arrangement, where we can also invite the private sector in to have facilities on our various hospitals, except that let me make the point that whatever fees and charges they will be charging on the various premises will be subjected to the Fees and Charges Act by Parliament. There are some of them, we'll sit down with them, they will use their internally generated funds to do. There are others that are also beyond them, we'll also link up with them from the ministry level. There are others that Mr. President will also have to hear, and then we take it. I think that Tamale deserves better than this. The next steps, one, is that I'm going to engage the minister responsible for Works and Housing immediately and try to make a case for Tamale Teaching Hospital to be exempted from this rationing of water. We also realize they have issues of power. Right after here, I'm also going to engage the minister responsible for power to make sure we resolve the issues.
I told you to keep quiet. Your approach and your mindset tells me that is perhaps why these problems have not been resolved. When you do that, I told you to keep quiet. You're giving me, I've tolerated your posture, your manners. When you come and meet such a person, even ministers, look, can you imagine a listen, trying to contain the situation. When you put up this behavior, even the minister, me, look at the way you are behaving in front of me. Even front of the minister, so you can imagine how the common person.
I'm trying to explain.
You can imagine how you
I'm trying to
the
be
common person. No, but you see, how can you behave like this? So it means that he's doing worse things here. It means that he's doing.
During the minister's visit, one of the doctors in charge tried to explain some of the challenges faced by the hospital, which included lack of equipment and some water crisis. And I think he went into details by saying that as at the time the patient was brought into the hospital, the emergency ward was already occupied. So what happened is that at Tamale Teaching Hospital, there are just 4 beds at the emergency ward. That's the intensive care unit. And these 4 beds were occupied at the time of arrival of the patient. And for that matter, they were not able to take care of him. That was the excuse from the doctor in charge. But the minister too was of the view that yes, the beds were occupied, but you could try to put some measures in place to make sure that the situation is managed. And I personally think that they could have given him some first aid and then try to transfer him to Kumasi or Accra for further treatment. But this was not done. And he also found out that, as I said earlier, on the hospital facilities were not in good shape. And I think this actually got on his nerves. But the doctor was still trying his best to explain, and I think the minister got furious at that point, and that clash, it was not a pleasant one at all. But let's look at it in this way. Is it really fair that the CEO was dismissed on this basis? Or you think maybe the minister should have just provided the needed resources to just make sure that, okay, their needs are met, and then he will look forward to both he'll look forward to subsequent weeks or months to see whether there will be changes, or if there are no changes, he can then dismiss the minister. But is it also a wake-up call to other CEOs and people in government positions to not just neglect some certain things or try to do things anyhow because those things don't really belong to them personally? Because I don't think if you really own this hospital and equipment can be damaged for over 6 years and then it's not repaired, and you not also just do things anyhow, so that you not even do things anyhow like this because people wouldn't patronize you. But because these are government facilities, I think nobody really cares. So prior to the sacking of the CEO, the hospital decided to go on a strike. By now, there are a lot of people in this hospital in critical conditions, and you just decide to go on a strike like this. Don't you think this is even going to like cause a bigger problem than the death of that one boy that caused all this problem? As a hospital, if something is not even right, maybe like the reason they gave for this strike is they needed an apology from the minister, and they did also like they don't get why the CEO should be sacked. Everything is just about communication, so you can maybe come out with a clear communication, this and this and this went wrong, and if you don't do this, we'll go on a strike, so that the government can know that, okay, they'll know what to do. But you don't just get up and do things on your own. They're like, we are here to see how things go. We hope everything resolved because this is about lives and they can be taken for granted. An apology. That's why they went on strike. Ghana. And this is also a wake up call to the government to try to equip this hospital, especially the teaching hospital, because they usually handle critical conditions. If you look at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, it takes care of the Savannah region, Upper West, Upper East, Northeast, and the Northern region is, so that's like 5 regions all, depending on this hospital for their emergency and critical cases. So it's not okay for it to just have 4 beds at the ICU. Like, it's not enough. I think the government needs to do better by like providing some of this equipment to make the work of these doctors easy, because that some of the doctors are really trying their best, and in doing their best, I don't think we should let limitations of resources and equipment be their problem. So let's all see how this thing goes. The minister is saying he will communicate with the necessary bodies to make sure that water and light is consistent at the hospital. And I think this is he being on his feet to make sure that things are on point. But I also look at it as maybe the sacking of the CEO was too harsh. I don't know whether he can be given a different chance, or yes, that's what most people are of the view that, okay, they should have just like kept the necessary measures in place instead of sacking him like that. Others too are of the view that yes, he's supposed to be sacked to make sure that other people take their work seriously, especially those in the government positions, because most of them just do things anyhow because the facility don't belong to them. They feel like it's a national asset and they do it anyhow. Yes, we can all agree that if this was like a private hospital, things could have been done better, especially with the capacity of this hospital. So we are hoping that things get better and everything resolves so that lives can be saved and then life can come back to normal. So once again, this is Gifted Media, and thanks for watching up to this point. We really appreciate your views on our comment section as usual. Please do continue to engage on this platform with us, and don't forget to share and then subscribe to this channel if you've not done so. Thank you, and see you in subsequent videos. Bye.